Islam, Moors, Islam. You're in for a treat. What you're going to witness today is a short video from the Brother Matheno. He's been in the movement for a while, and he's speaking on issues pertinent to the Moorish American paradigm. And this is just something that I think would benefit everyone, whether you've been in the movement for a while or you're new to it. So this is a broad perspective of people, a wide range of people who can benefit from this information. And I want to thank the brother for taking the time, for investing his time with us, with the community, sharing his experience with us, his wisdom, and in turn actually teaching. Okay, so you definitely will benefit from this. You can enjoy this. And also the brother Matheno wrote this book, Moorish America's Archival Palladium, and definitely a great work. I want to commend the brother, thank the brother for putting that out there. Okay, this is great. You definitely want to check that out too. Okay, and hopefully we can have the brother on again. Maybe you can send questions to me at Bay, B-E-Y, Bay, at moorsinamerica.com, and I can speak with him later. Maybe we can record something else in the future and just address any questions that you have. But you definitely want to check this out. You want to share it, and you're going to enjoy this. You're in for a treat. All right? So also check out the brother's book, Moorish America's Archival Palladium, and that's Brother Matheno. All right? So definitely save this, share it, and appreciate you too. All right? Peace.
Islam, Moors. Something very, very important. As a matter of fact, vitally important, especially for the Moorish Americans or for any of those who associate with Prophet Negro Ali, the Moorish Science Temple of America, or the part of the Moorish Divine and National Movement in North America in any way, shape, or form, even if you're just coming into it. Yes, there's a lot of confusion out there as to what we should be doing or need to be doing. But something very interesting, if you have a copy of the Quran Questions for Moorish Americans, I'm going to start there. And if you don't have a copy, Google it. I'm sure, it's all over the place. So I want you to see something. I want you to see the cover of this little pamphlet. Prophet Negro Ali was on a mission to not just to restore our nationality and our identity and our history, but to show us the way that we could be uplifted as a people, the way that we could do it. As a matter of fact, it's interesting that the Prophet came about 50 years. Matter of fact, he was born in 1886. That's 21 years after physical slavery had so-called ended. Islam? So that's close. And the Prophet is sent by Allah on a mission. Islam? He said, what is a prophet? A prophet is a thought of Allah. Islam? So what is our prophet to us? It says this inside here. He is an angel of Allah who was sent to bring us the everlasting gospel of Allah. So what is the everlasting gospel? Is that, wait a minute, let me get it right. What is the everlasting gospel? It is a saving power that comes from Allah through our ancient fathers by his prophet. Islam? To save, to redeem us, to rescue us, Islam, from some peril, risk, or danger. And as a people, in our condition and what we have been living in this country, Islam, to say has been perilous. It's always perilous. We can see that every day. There's always a risk, and no one is ever held accountable. And we've been in that position, and yet we've yet to fully at least come out of that. So the Prophet came with the plan Islam, you got to have a plan. Now, just in passing, there are a lot of other Moors and groups out here with different approaches. Some, not saying right or wrong, some obviously wrong, and they're getting different responses. Okay? There are different plans, but the Prophet comes with a plan. And I think that the picture that's most illustrative of this plan is on the front of this questionnaire. Quran question for Moorish Americans. Here's the answer right here. Here's the Prophet and what he came to do and what he did. Now, even if you have a plan and you put that plan into effect, it will be a process of time that plan unfolds and becomes effective in doing what the plan is supposed to do. Islam? This may take a couple of recordings here, but and as a warning, this will not be for the faint of heart. As much as I can get it from my heart, it's going to be the naked truth. Islam? On this cover, you see the Prophet rescuing humanity from the cares of the world and putting her on a solid rock of salvation. Islam? There's some things about this picture that are interesting, connected to our situation as it is. Undeniable. The sister looks like she's barely alive. She was drowning, apparently, in the cares of the world. Islam? Now, when we historically, it took me a long time to see this. I'm going to admit it, a long time. We think of humanity as the human family. Islam? So that's how we kind of usually go about it. But we got to remember, number one, that the Prophet came primarily to us. We were a people that were drowning in the cares of the world. Islam? And if you look at our history, which is well known, we know it well, we understand that during physical slavery, we had no families. There was no husband, wife, slave. That was not allowed. They would sell the wife off, sell the kids, and this was done universally, all over, wherever slavery existed. You never allowed them to have a family. This was part of the enslavement. This is what kept them slaves, and that's what keeps our people in slavery today. And this is where we're going. Islam? We still are in the condition as a people, as it relates to our families, that our people were over 150 years ago. Same state. Different time, same state. No real, you got some, come on, it's a lot of them, but it's way too many of our people, if not more than half, that there is no two-parent household. There's a single mother and the father is out of the picture. Especially for, now here's another thing here. If you look at this, this is why the so-called black male, especially young, is targeted. This is part of the plan. This is how you perpetuate that, because you know that there are other systems and institutions that will ensnare him. Okay, let's say go with child support. Because now I think if you don't pay child support, they take your driver's license. Well, if you don't have driver's license, you can't legally, according to their law, drive on the roads. So now you got more problems. You get those financial burdens. You're entangled with the family court system, and if you are in some other legal controversy, you're entangled with the other court system. Look at, the United States has more people incarcerated than any other country on earth. I've never heard that denied. Do you know most of those people are so-called black males? All of them are effectively removed from the society. You look at the high school, when you have kids in high school. A lot of those brothers do not finish. They quit. I quit. Because, see, I didn't have that experience of the mother and father. I was raised by a single mother. So I saw that struggle of the single so-called black mother up close and personal. Islam? And when you see here, he's not picking the brother up, he's picking the sister up. What are the cares of the world? I saw my mother struggle. She had to pay all the bills, take care of all the kids, you know, everything. Drowning in it. And this is where we're going to go. I told you it was not going to be for the faint of heart. A lot of these Moors, young Moors, new Moors, getting into all kind of snares and traps, messing with the European and his law, getting locked up, whatever. Just throwing it like, once you get locked up, your life is pretty much gone for that period of time anyway. You have no control over your own actions. But if we look around us, and I wanted to say this before I go further, in deference to all the different groups, all the different, well, Noble Drew Ali is not the only Moor groups, and whoever doesn't have jurisdiction groups and whatever, okay? So I take it that your approach is a plan, okay? I have to accept that your approach, you have another group, correct your status group, whatever. I take it that that's a plan. So rather than to say you're right or wrong or to judge you, I'll say, okay, well, what if the majority of us followed your plan? And whether it's following certain paperwork or whatever you're saying, if the majority of us followed your plan, what would the results be based on your history? And I can tell you right off the bat, based on the history of some of these groups, half of us would be incarcerated in it. We'd be locked up because that's what's happening. So I don't really think I want to follow your plan. You know, I want to see us uplifted as a people, not further incarcerated. You see, what happens is you're targeted because you're a single young black male. They know you don't know how to function in society. They know you're angry. They know, you know what I mean? They know all this about you. They know you're emotional. They know about the black rage, all of that. So whenever you slip, someone that, because everybody's not trying to perpetuate the plan, but enough people are. And it's always someone in position to take advantage of that opportunity. You target it anyway, then you give them an opportunity. So apparently that's not working. But this is the prophet's plan right here on that questionnaire. Interesting that he put it on the questionnaire, because you got to ask the question before you go any further, what does this picture mean? What does this image, this drawing, what does it mean? Because our women are drowning in the cares of the world. Too many of them. I know I was blessed. Me and my wife and I, we've been married over 35 years, thank God, you know, but it was not easy. And I see why. You see, you have a vicious cycle here. I see why a lot of young brothers run from their responsibility. I understand that. I understand that. I see why. Because they have not been taught by men how to take responsibility. See, it's not that a woman can't teach it, because she can. But I don't think it always will have the impact as when it's coming from a man to man. They're like a woman teaching a girl how to be a woman, raising her up. It's going to be more effective because that girl knows she's a woman just like me. She knows. She's been there. Islam? Okay, now just, you know, it's not intended to be overcritical of our people or demeaning, talking down to them. Just showing where our greatest vulnerabilities are. This is something we're going to face anyway. Sooner or later, we have to come face to face with it and deal with it, because this is the problem and the solution to the problem. Islam, this is it right here, this picture. And I'll show you that some of the things that the prophet left and how he left it supports that. Our sisters got to worry about everything. They got all that stress and strain, and it's not right. We know it's not right. Come on, man. Come on. You can't leave a woman with kids and 2 or 3 kids. You can't stand her so and so and so. Well, you can stand her then. Let's be men. The boys have an attitude. Men take responsibility. That's just the way it is. Look, love all of the Moors. Love all the Moors. But this is it, brother. You want to be a man, this is it. You want to step up and build a nation? Because, see, if you not take your responsibilities, I really don't want to have a conversation with you. I'm serious, I don't. Because that's contradictory. You can't, no, you got to do that, Mo. This is the picture right here. See, this is why you notice a lot of these Asiatics that run off into these side groups and these fringe groups, and you don't have no jurisdiction over me groups. Do you notice a lot of them are all tangled up in child support problems and all that kind of stuff? You ever notice that? Don't want to take responsibility. They don't want to read the literature. They don't want to study what the prophet left for us to study. That's too much light. They love the dark because they want to keep doing what they've been doing and living like they've been living. That's it. Well, you heard the saying that the picture says 1,000 words. Well, this one speaks volume. This is our problem. Look, this is common sense. It's not rocket scientists. This is not rocket science. Look at every other nation. Every other nation. I know somebody will jump up and say, well, yeah, there's also Europeans that are single mothers. Sure they are. Sure they are. But that does not negate the fact that a disproportionate amount of our children are raised in single parent households. And there is an emotional impact on the boy because he's not being taught how men approach things. Woman can try. She can do a great job. Like I said, I saw it firsthand. I give all honor and love to my mother. God rest her soul. Because, wow, I saw it up close. I saw her carry wood. Okay, bringing wood in the house, and she had a pile of wood for the stove. She had an axe on top of the pile. She was trying to bring the axe into it because it was cold out, and she was crying because the axe had slipped and cut her under the eye. So, I mean, don't go there with me, because I'm telling you, I'm going to say what is in my heart to say, because it needs to be said. Stop trying to tell me how deep you are and who has jurisdiction, and handle your business. Because you just fronting. Let's go on and do it the way the prophet said. Y'all most don't want to do it the way the prophet said. That's why. Too many of them. Now, I know sometimes you come into the movement late after we made a lot of mistakes. All that's understandable. But here's the problem right here. Look at every nation on earth. And we've been all around the Europeans and everybody else all our lives. You see mostly family units. And then extended families. And the whole society is built on that. The whole nation is built on that. That's the way it is. I don't care who wants to marry who. I'm just saying, without the family, the human race becomes extinct. The prophet said, you want to solve your problem? Uplift your sister. He was married. However that turned out or was, whatever. You want to get uplifted as a nation? Uplift your sister. Stand there and be a man and take it. Don't run off. Stand there and be a man. I was there. I had that experience. No, it wasn't easy. And being a Moor and everybody else knowing, okay, he's supposed to be about this knowledge and all this for so-called black people and uplifting us. Let's see what he do. And I'm serious. I'm just being straight up, talking from the heart. They watched me for 35 years. Yeah. So, this is it, Moors. This is it. What the prophet is saying. And I'll put it out there, and I hope and pray other Moors put it out there, because until we do that, it's just talk. Until we come in order, and matter of fact, to rise together as a nation, it's going to be required that we rise together as men and as brothers. This is the solution. Look at how do we treat each other. Look at how the Europeans treat each other. You have some anomalies. You got some criminal-minded Europeans, but I'm going to tell you overall, European men deal with each other as brothers. They do. They look out for each other. They help each other. It's not even a question. Not even a question. And like I said, look, we can look at any nation, any country, anywhere on earth. There is nowhere except here where the men are disproportionately separated from the families, where there's no family unit for the most part. Less than half. I would say less than half. Matter of fact, where I'm sitting right now, I'm looking at a housing development. And I'm remembering we used to live in a housing development. And out of, well, it was only 180, so it was small. It was only 180 units. But out of 180 units, there was maybe the most 3 married families. 3. This is the key. Because you look, you want to say you're a man? You want to say you standing on a square? You want to say you standing on a square? You got to have a square first to stand on it. You got to have one. A lot of y'all ain't got no square, bro. I don't know, you might have a rectangle, but you don't have a square. Because that means you're standing on what's right and what's true, and you're standing to be accountable for yourself. Accountable for yourself. Now, I guess I better move on a little bit more. I told you it wasn't going to be for the faint heart. It wasn't for the faint of heart, rather. When you go to your divine instructions, brother, and this is another point here. Go to your divine instructions, chapter 40. Holy instructions from the prophet, the instability of man. Now, he says in verse 6, what blindeth the eye, or what hideth the heart of a man from himself, like vanity? Lo, when thou seest not thyself, then others discover thee most plainly. See, this is not for people who don't want to face things and deal with things and accept things as they are. Islam? This light here is for those of us that want to grow and be useful members of society. Those of us that want to develop our vast potential. Those of us that want to follow the prophet in this plan of salvation for ourselves and our people as a nation. It means coming out of the dark, Moors, into the marvelous light. Not running from the police, not running from the child support. Standing in the light. That's what that means. Only way you can do that is to be standing on the square. Such as in being squared away. Islam? What blindeth the eye? Why can't we see, or why won't we recognize things as they really are, and what our responsibilities really are, and how to deal with those responsibilities? Because we're blind. We haven't developed the capacity to perceive it. We're still seeing things like we did when we was in the street. So we're responding and dealing with life just like we did when we was in the street. Something has to change that. Vanity, he said. Vanity. And what is vanity? You know what vanity says is excessive pride in or admiration of one's own appearance or achievements. We're just full of ourselves. Or full of wind, you know. Islam. So let me move on now. Let me move on. Islam. Move on. Here, one of the blessings that I thank Allah for was he always kept me either in this record or some other record where it was reflected to me how I needed to approach things, because I had no example. I got married young. We had 4 children. I didn't know how to be a father or a husband and all of that. So I had to learn on the fly, I had to learn along the way. Islam? And if you go back in your record, you say, to in my record is page 34, but it's no, I'm wrong. Let me back up a little bit. It's page 32, chapter 20. The first thing that the prophet does, now he has the philosophical and religious and spiritual aspect of things concerning the life of Jesus, however you want to take that, as, metaphor, analogy, parables, historical, whatever. Islam. Then he goes to dealing with us as people, individuals. Islam. Chapter 20, he starts off and he says, holy instructions and warnings for all young men. So he starts off dealing with the young man. He's prepping that young man to become a full-grown man. Islam. And then when he becomes a full-grown man, to be of service to his nation and his society, he needs to get married and become a faithful, look what he says, become a faithful member of society. That's in chapter 32, duty of a husband. Take unto thyself a wife and take unto thy wife and obey the ordinance of Allah. Take unto thyself a wife and become a faithful member of society. Islam? You hear how he's going now. But he starts off instructing the young man. Then he instructs the young woman. Really, marriage instructions for man and wife from the noble prophet. So we both can learn from this. But he's saying if you want a husband, especially a good husband, you need to be this type of wife to a certain degree. Islam? He does that. Then he goes to chapter 32, duty of a husband. Islam? Let me show you something. First got married. I would be out. I had me and my best friend be out. It's just a grand secret. We was young, and be out late. And as I grew, Allah let me know, brother, it ain't nothing good going on at 10, 11 o'clock at night. You got a family. You need to be there. Because one of the things that the sister wants is security. She wants to know that, well, my husband is here. And over time, I can remember her saying, you need to talk to my husband. Over time, I can remember that. And once she, I experienced seeing her where she wasn't stressed out. She was completely relaxed and relieved because she knew whatever that issue was, that's something for my husband to deal with, and he'll deal with it. I don't have to worry about that. You see? Islam? But it's to get us to think, Moors. That's what it's all about. Let's face this reality. There will be no nation of Moors, just Moors, men. It'll be a nation like every other nation, or it won't be one at all. And this is what the prophet is saying to us. Matter of fact, if you look at how he does things, he even goes and says, holy instructions for thy children. Our children need to be taught the whole thing. Both sides of life. Not half of it. And I was going to say before, our sisters being under that stress and that weight and that burden of having to handle everything. Not saying they can't do it. Yeah, you were strong. But the results are not always the results that we need. Because a lot of the young men being raised by women, they're exposed to the woman's emotional side. That's just her nature. To be more emotional and to react to things more emotionally. Which can be a good thing. I can show you how. Okay, I can show you how. I was working, driving a tractor trailer, and I guess I had been home about 4 or 5 days, Islam. And the sister was like, well, number one, this brother's getting on my nerves because I'm not used to being around 4 or 5 days laying around. I was young, but I'm just going to tell you this. So he needed to be out there making that money, Islam, because she was taking care of the children. We didn't put our kids as babysitters when they were young, because by the time we finished paying the babysitter, you know what I mean, it was a loss. So I said, honey, you take care of those kids. You take care of that. I'll get the money. So I went out over the road. I did that for like 25 years of driving, not all over the road. I started off and spent years over the road, but she called my boss and she gave him an earful. Yes, he did. And he called me back. I was like, yeah, what's going on? He said, come over, get the truck and leave. I said, what? That sounded like you. Come over, get the truck and leave. I came over. I said, what's going on? He said, man, get the truck and leave. I said, where am I going? He said, I don't, just go somewhere. I'll call you. I'll find something for you to do. I don't want your wife calling me no more. Islam. Okay. So that feminine nature can be a good thing, but that's dealing with the truth. The brother's being raised up. And so when they come into contact with, the powers that be, or with some races or some racist system or many of the racist institutions that still exist, when they come into contact with it, they are bound to have an emotional reaction. Chances are. And then when they have that emotional reaction, and rather than an intelligent reaction, then that's taken advantage of. Oh, see, that opportunity has presented itself to your enemy or your adversary, Islam. Okay? So that's what's going on. It's a vicious cycle, Islam. But if you see now here, when you have that brother there, chances are when a situation arises, it will be referred to his father, Islam. Because if you're approaching it like the prophet is going to teach us to do, it will be referred to his father, and the powers that be have to deal with dad, the man of the house. Islam, I've had that experience. Then if you're blessed to handle it intelligently, it's going to be a whole different outcome. This is where we are. I'm just trying to break it down. This is it. Islam, this is it. So we have to be mindful of what the prophet is really saying, what he's really showing us. And I'm going back to, again, the front of this cover with the condition of our people. And I've heard young Moors, our condition's the same. Blah, 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 blah. Well, stop doing the same thing. Because if you stop doing the same thing and you start to apply those lessons and to uplift yourself and take yourself out of that game, you'll be helping to uplift it. You'll be helping to solve the problems. You'll be helping to build a nation. Because I'm going to tell you that, look, like I said, some people make mistakes, but if you got kids out here, especially like these sisters, and you're not taking care of them, I don't even want to have a conversation with you. There's nothing to talk about. It's hypocritical. What am I talking to you for? Go handle your business. Be a man. That's what men do. Like I said, I've been blessed. I've seen both sides of it. Raised by a single mother, saw that side. But then Allah blessed me by, so far, now thank him and praise him, knock on wood, to be married for 35 years and starting from scratch. So I know it can be done. I know it can be done. And that's the main problem with the Moorish American nation or any nation. That's the main problem with our people right now. Until that problem is solved, there will be no nation. Won't be. So before, us declaring to the world how great more science is, how great Islam is, and how much light the prophet brought us and all that, we got to start at that's square one. There's your square one right there. Islam, there it is. Because the difference, like I said, our kids turned out all right, thank God, so far so good. But I saw the difference, and my kids saw the difference. And we talked about it. Islam saw the difference. And like I'm going to tell you, Mose, like I said, Mose, it's not easy. You got to be a man. Islam, you got to be a man to stand on a square in this country. You got to be a man, a brother man. Yes, you do. And you need a God in your life. You need a God on your side, or you will not stand. You will not make it in some way, shape, or form. You need to know that your Father God Allah is real, and He got your back. Islam, because I'll show you a secret. Don't tell nobody. I'll show you a secret. When you get in a controversial situation and you standing like you're supposed to, He'll tell you what to do. I've seen this over all this time. I remember. I'm just gonna say this. I remember one of my sons was about to graduate from high school, and there was an issue. Just put it like that. So that would prevent him from graduating. Now here he is in 12th grade, about to graduate. And when I went to a conference with his teachers and the principal and counselor, everybody, okay? There's a lot of folks in the room. And whatever the controversy was, it was coming from one European. And I mean, nobody has to tell me what a racist. I can pick that up 10 miles away. And she was trying to use that opportunity to prevent him from graduating, which was only a couple months away. And I told that chick in front of all them people, they was all red faces in there. And I was dead serious. I said, look, you're a racist. And you're trying to stop my son from graduating. It ain't going to happen. I will fight you to the death, pretty much. So I said, however far, I said it like this, however far you want to go, I'm the one that's ready to go there. We can go starting today. I'm serious, Islam. I said, we can go, because you're not going to stop him from doing anything. And he graduated. This is where we are. You see, here, now let me finish. I don't want to wear you Moors out. Let me finish. Islam. Islam Moors. Let me finish. Marriage instructions. Holy instructions of unity. Where there's unity, there's strength. Together we stand, divided we fall. That's more than a saying, Moors. Well, let me finish up with you guys. Look. I've heard some Asiatics talking about, how y'all going to be a nation? How you going to get out? In other words, how you going to get free of the same black slavery that we've been in for the last 100-something years? When I can't be free. I've heard people who call themselves black make videos with a angle, something like that. Y'all don't have no army. You don't have this, that, and the other. If we needed an army, the prophet would have told us we needed an army. You don't need an army. Oh, you don't need an army. That would be ridiculous. You don't need, look, I remember when they had the Black Panthers. Now, I was young. They had the Black Panthers and all that, whatever. Look, let's deal with reality. Of course, you're not going to, these Europeans, every time something happened, a lot of them, not all of them now, every time something happened, they go buy some more guns and some more bullets. And I'm thinking, man, I was in the military, I was in and out of the military and had over a 20-some year association with different branches, but I know that you can't shoot but one gun at a time. I know that. Usually, this is not no Rambo thing. You're not gonna be, you know what I'm saying? So you got 15 guns, and what's everybody else gonna be doing? But you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. All you need, because what's taking place right now, as more and more people now are finding out about them being Moors. Okay, so they're getting at least enough information to persuade them that it could be true. Islam, more and more people every day are saying, yeah, I proclaim my nationality, or put an eel or bear on their name, or say, I'm not black, I'm Moorish. More and more every day. Islam, more and more every day. But the way to move out of the whole problem the prophet is giving us. The information to build on he's given us. Islam, every day. This is it. This is it. And as more and more people do their homework, then if they're, the scammers and the frauds, the hustlers or whatever, be exposed. They expose their own selves. Because like I said, if their plan is not working, it's going to become well known that their plan is not working and what the results of their plan are. So a thinking person is not going to run in there and follow that plan. As time goes on, more people become exposed. So more and more people will have to choose Islam. More and more have to choose. And I think it's highly possible. Look, building businesses, building technologies, reaching higher heights in this society and around the world is now possible, fully possible, and probable. So there's no reason why we should not, as a people, aspire towards that. Islam, there's no reason why. I've seen us go from colored, Negro, to black, to Afro-American, back to black, to African-American, and moving between African-American, black, African-American, black. I've seen all that whole process. And I've been blessed to see our people, because look, 40-some years ago, I could not imagine how in the world, and we reached as many people as they could, but we didn't have the tools. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have the phone. We didn't have the connection or the connective ability that we have today. We didn't have the ability to access resources. I used to have to study probably 8 hours a day at times in a library for maybe 3 or 4 days a week to get access to the same information I could probably get access to now in half a day. Okay, we had to send letters to the Grand Sheik in Chicago or here or there. But to see our people be exposed to this is it. We're at the threshold as a people. And I'll just say this, just predict this now. You're going to see people that are well known start to step out with ill or bay on their name. Watch. I've always seen some, maybe in the sports, but you're going to see people convert. Because this is the next logical step, is nationhood. Islam, I don't want to wear you out, but like I said, I've seen it. Now, some of the new Moors and young Moors, well, to me, new is like 10, 15 years is new to me. Not saying, trying to put you down, just saying that's new to me. But I've been blessed to see that whole thing. Amen. I think I might have been in the classroom when they showed, I think, the funeral of JFK. I was in the classroom. And remember the effect of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King. I didn't hear about the assassinating of Malcolm X until later. But I saw a lot of that push. I remember when Harold Washington was elected as a mayor of Chicago. I remember different things. So there was that movement, forward movement. Islam, our people were moving to areas that they had never moved into before. Like I said, when I was a child, six-wheel trucks would come around with these high walls on the side and load up people in my community. We went out and worked in the field. I remember I jumped up and down and wanted my mom to let me go, and she took me so I could go out there and work too. But that's where we came from. I saw that, and I think it's a blessing to share with the younger Moors. We're not there yet, but here we are at the threshold of getting out of this whole thing. You got a lot of Asiatics that are going to keep doing what they've been doing. But here's the key. Here's the answer. Here's the light that we need to see our way out of this. Islam is to build on our families, what he said. He say about encourage our youth. You know, brighten the hopes. That's what he said. Islam, brighten the hopes of our youth, that they may be encouraged to dare and to do wondrous things. Islam, my mother used to tell me you can do anything that you put your mind to. But if you're under this inferiority thinking, you got to know who you are and who your forefathers were. The Prophet's given us all of that. But he's saying you got to start here or you'll never get anywhere.